What's up, adventurers? My name is Platinum Phoenix, and welcome back to Pokemon FireRed. Last time, we made it here to Lavender Town, and this time, we're going to be heading out of Lavender Town onto Route 08, heading towards Celadon City. So let's go ahead and get going. And I believe we have to fight one of these first two trainers, but on Route 08, there are actually two new Pokemon that you can pick up. Technically. And I say that because they are version exclusives. So the FireRed exclusive is Growlithe. Growlithe becomes a great special attacker. Just, it's really weird. It actually has almost equal special and physical attack. So it's pretty good as a mixed attacker. But Growlithe has a few things going for it, and one really big thing that holds it back. The good things are that it's fast and very strong for being a stone evolution, so it can be those very strong stats almost immediately if you want to. It also has a really good TM list, so even when it evolves and can't learn any more moves, it still has TMs that it can work off of. The downside is what I actually just said, is that once it evolves, it stops learning moves except for one, which I'll talk about in a second. But that's where the biggest downside comes in. Flamethrower is the best fire type move in this game. It's the most accurate and the most reliable, and also one of the stronger moves. I believe it's like 90 power. But Growlithe has to stay a Growlithe until level 49 in order to get Flamethrower, which is just an absurd level to ask anyone to keep a Growlithe. If you end up evolving Growlithe before level 49, like 95% of players will, at level 49 it will instead get Extreme Speed, which is just better Quick Attack, which is still a good move and is an awesome move for an Arcanine to have. It's just not one of the best fire type moves in the game. And that's the biggest downside. The other Pokemon that can be found here is the Leaf Green exclusive Vulpix. And Vulpix is actually a more defensive fire type than pretty much any we've seen so far. Even though we haven't actually seen that many fire types so far. And it has the leg up in the move department because unlike Growlithe, it learns Flamethrower at level 29, which is actually a reasonable level because almost all of my Pokemon are level 29 already. Which means it'll be right about now when it would be level 29, and it would have Flamethrower and you could evolve it immediately with one of the best fire type moves. The trade-off for it learning Flamethrower so quickly is it has lower attack, special attack, and speed than Growlithe, and it also has a much worse TM learn set than Growlithe does. So those are the big exchanges, but it's not really the worst trade-off in the world, if I'm being honest. But with that being said, we are fighting this scientist, and actually... Is he poisoning? Oh no, that was Smog. I was like, I was almost certain that was poison gas. Except I don't know when poison gas was invented, so... I am going to switch. I think I'm going to switch to Zara. Because Zara is slightly behind in levels, but not by a ton. Voltorb, I'm just going to Secret Power you. And I'm actually faster than the Voltorb. Or Zara is faster than the Voltorb, which is surprising. I was expecting the ball of electricity to be faster than my cat, but you know. Get a payday out of it, get a few extra coins, a little bit extra money, and get to level 28, which is nice. And what do you have left? Magnemite. I am going to switch back to Zodiac because, let's be honest, Dig is just going to obliterate this thing. 4 times super effective. I think the only 4 times super effective. And even if it wasn't, it's also the only one that has any other moves that are also super effective against this thing. And Dig should just take it out. Yeah, that just destroys it. Almost level 30 already. Oh, meltdown. $480 and $135. So about $600. Oh, and Zara is evolving. This is kind of sad, actually. I liked having pickup, but now that Zara is evolving into Persian, I'm going to have Limber instead of pickup, so I don't get my free items. I kind of wish Persian kept pickup, even though I know Limber is a better ability. It's just nice having pickup. But Zara has evolved into Persian. And I actually want to fight this guy right here, just to show off my Persian a little bit. Also, I definitely forgot to switch, meaning that Persian's not in the front. Zodiac's still in the front, actually. Zodiac, just thrash this thing. You'll get up to level 30, then we can show off, Zara. Kept trying to say Zora, like the fish people of Zelda. I've been playing too much Breath of the Wild lately. Zodiac is level 30. Alright. And now we get to show off my shiny new Persian. Look at how beautiful she is. Secret power. But that looked interesting. Was that like a slash that it just did? And a Poly Whirl. Sora, do it again. Take it down. Oh, not quite. Double slap. Oh, this is doing actually nothing, so I'm fine with it. Give me extra money. It's kind of funny that it's still able to use Payday, even though it doesn't have the coin anymore, because Persian loses the coin on the front of its head, which presumably is how Meowth uses Payday, actually. But Drat came up short. 1548 or 84 and 140 on top of that. But with that being said, we just need to go through here into the underground path. What do you have to say? The department store in Celadon has a great selection. Do you go there very often? I've literally never been there. Never in my life. This repel wore off. Broke my train of thought, but it's just like, yeah, I've literally never been to Celadon, so how would I have been there often? I hear a sleepy Pokemon appears out near Celadon City too. Well, we might have to go check that out at some point, but we're on Route 7 now. And here is a Weeper berry? Sure. And if we just head up here, avoid the grass entirely, we have made it to Celadon. And immediately see a Rocket Grunt. But I need to go heal, so we're going to ignore him for a second. Alright, now that we are in Celadon City, you may have noticed that I have removed Rattata from my party. That's mostly because it hasn't really done anything. I caught it for HMs, thinking it would be helpful, but it fought a Growlithe in the SSN. But other than that, it hasn't done anything, so I took it out, and maybe I'll fill the spot with something different later. But now that we are in Celadon City, there's actually a ton to do here. And funnily enough, the first thing I want to do is leave. So over on Route 16, you can see that there is a Snorlax here that's asleep. And we have no way of actually getting past it. But if we run over here and cut this tree. Go ahead, Paris, cut it down. Thank you. You can see that there's a patch of grass up here with some trainers. But there's actually one new Pokemon in this patch of grass that I think we should go over while I'm fighting these trainers. So, the new Pokemon is Doduo. Doduo actually becomes a really fast physical attacker, having at least decent typing. It also has some decent level up moves, getting both Dropek and Tri-Attack through level up, which are really good moves for it. But it doesn't really have much else going for it. It doesn't really have any TMs to speak of. It gets like Steel Wing and Hyper Beam, which Hyper Beam is actually a really good move, and you get it in this town, in fact, so it's a really good move to teach it if you're going to use it. But Steel Wing's not super amazing, and everything else on the TM list is just bad. And the last thing to say about it is I wouldn't really recommend it, but if you are planning to use it, make sure that it has the early bird ability, because Runaway just isn't helpful, especially once you have repels, which we are plenty far in the game to have. But early bird will allow you to wake up earlier after being put to sleep, which is super helpful, if nothing else, to avoid the shenanigans that I've been dealing with sleep powder. But with that being said, we have defeated this couple. They've actually had some really strong Pokemon. They had a Ninetales and a Rapidash, both level 29, which is crazy to think about, actually. And I'm just going to switch Zara back into the lead, because Zodiac is the most over-leveled Pokemon right now. If we go through here, what do you have to say? How'd you get in? Good effort. Alright, bye, old man. Oh, weird old man that one is. And you can look down here, there's actually a lot of cyclers, but we have no way of actually getting down there right now. So we're just gonna head into this house. And I want to say that's a Spearow, but it kind of looks like a Farfetch'd too. What do you have to say? Oh dear, you found my secret retreat. Please don't tell anyone I'm here. I'll make it up to you with this. HMO2. Put it into the case. HMO2 is Fly. It's a wonderfully convenient move. Please put it to good use. So what HMO2 Fly is, it allows you to basically quick travel back to any town that you have previously been to, which is incredibly helpful for backtracking, which there is a decent amount to in this game. It's not technically required, it's just really helpful. Also, why am I running? I should definitely be on my bike. But yeah, you just have to go back there in order to get it, and it's really nice to have. But the next thing I want to show is back here behind the Pokemon Center. If we ride over here, there's a Pokeball with an Ether inside, which is another really good item. And then I want to go into this building, and we just have to slowly and monotonously walk up these stairs until we get to the top, and we can get into the building that isn't accessible from the front. Let's walk in here. What do you have to say? There is nothing that I don't know. Look, I wrote it on the blackboard. I know about the world of Pokemon and in your Game Boy Advance. Get together with your friends and enjoy trading Pokemon. Alright, what does this book have to say? It's a pamphlet of TMs. There are 50 TMs in all. There are also 7 HMs that can be used repeatedly. Silphco. Should probably keep Silphco in mind for later. But next up is the most obvious thing in this room. This Pokeball right here, which is an Eevee. And I do plan to use this Eevee, but I do not want to give it a nickname right now because, let's be honest, it would probably spoil which evolution I'm planning to evolve it into, and where's the fun in that? But Eevee, the evolution Pokemon, it can basically fit onto any team because it can evolve into so many different things, and all of the different evolutions work differently, which is a unique trait to Eevee specifically, and is also one of my favorite gimmicks in all of Pokemon, is the evolutions. The biggest downside to Eevee and its evolutions, however, are that, well, all the evolutions get a stab move at level 16, but unfortunately you get this Eevee at level 25, and it just, once you evolve it, you aren't able to get access to that level 16 stab move, which makes it a little bit harder to use any of the evolutions. But with that being said, I actually want to take a look at this Eevee, because like I said, I want to use it. We're just going to go ahead and switch it above Paris. And what do you have? You are a naughty nature. I have no idea what that raises. Well, there's the stats. You can obviously see on screen what it raises, but I'll have to look it up after the fact. And the moves that it has are Helping Hand, Sand Attack, Growl, and Quick Attack. Out of all these moves, basically only Quick Attack is good. But it's nice that it has Quick Attack. And I actually want to check something in the PC, so I'll be right back. Alright, after that, something that I forgot to mention is that I will be going over the evolutions as soon as we get access to them, but they all require a stone that we don't currently have, so it doesn't make sense to go over them all now, and it would be hard to go over all of them at once anyway. So we're just going into the department store. What do you have? You have a bunch of HMs, actually. I want to pick up Hyper Beam. I want to pick up Dig. And I think that's it for now. Yes. Thank you. And I believe you are just a regular store. Yes, you are. Do you have super repels? You do have super repels. I'm going to buy 20 of them. Thank you. And now we just are going to go up another floor. And in here, you have what? Oh, hi, I finally finished Pokemon. Not yet done? How about I teach you a good move? The move I had in mind is Counter. Not like the one I'm leaning on, mind you. No, I'm good. You're not interested? Come see me if you change your mind. So this is the move tutor for the Counter move, which is kind of weird that he's kind of just in the department store, but whatever. And what do you have? Hi, how may I help you? And this guy has Pokédolls that let you run from any battle, Retro Mail, but more importantly, he has all of the evolution stones, which means, if I'm keeping my promise, it's now time to talk about the evolutions of the Eevee I got 5 minutes ago. Maybe not even 5 minutes ago. More like 3 minutes ago. But let's start from the top and make our way down. So the Firestone will evolve your Eevee into Flareon. And unfortunately, Flareon is cursed by having the worst stat distribution of any Flareon, or any evolution. Flareon has high attack and high special defense, which means it can take some hits. It's just that fire types are special in this game, which means it can't rely on its high physical attack. It also has very low special attack comparatively, so it just isn't great. It gets quick attack and smog as its only physical attacks through leveling up, but it does have decent moves through its TMs. But like I said, it's the hardest to use, and it's just the one I recommend the least out of all three of them. The next evolution for the Thunderstone is Jolteon. Jolteon is high speed and high special attack. It's actually a really good sweeper because it's so fast and has such high special attack that it can just sweep through some stuff. As well as being an electric type, it's only weak to ground type. It does have some downsides, however. It has a terrible level up moveset, frankly. It only learns physical moves up until level 52, which is most of the game. Which is not great. I think it gets like Double Kick and Pin Needle, which are just awful on a Jolteon, frankly. It does learn a couple of electric type moves through TMs, but that's really all it gets through TMs, so that's a little iffy as well. The main thing I would say is that you're using a Jolteon, make sure to wait to evolve your Eevee until level 30. Because at level 30, Eevee learns Bite, which is a special move. But if you evolve it into Jolteon at level 30, it learns Double Kick, which is a bad physical type move for it. So just make sure it's level 30 before you evolve it. Make sure you have Bite. It's just better. But the last evolution we can get in the main story with the Water Stone is Vaporeon. It is a high HP special attacker, which makes it the tankiest of all of the evolutions. It can take a lot of hits, actually. It also has a great level up moveset, getting things like Aurora Beam, Water Gun, and stuff like that. It gets Bite in its level up moveset without needing to wait till level 30 to evolve it, so that's nice. And it's what I would call the most reliable out of the evolutions. It doesn't have like the super amazing sweeping capability of Jolteon, but it's definitely more usable than Jolteon or Flareon is during the main story of this game. But with that being said, I am actually going to buy one of each of the stones, just so I have the stones to evolve stuff if I want to. Especially because if you evolve Pokemon, they count towards your Pokedex, which helps with all of the Professor Oak's aids and stuff. But with that being said, I think we'll head up to the 5th floor. And up here, I believe, is the Vitamin Man. Are you selling vitamins? You are selling vitamins. So these are the same vitamins that we saw back in Celadon City with the Berry Powder Man. Except these you can buy here with money. It's just that they cost an arm and a leg for each of them. And no, I think I'm just going to stay without those. And you sell the X items, which are in battle items that raise the Pokemon stats by two stages for each one you use. I believe it's by 2 stages. It might be by 1 stage, if I'm incorrect in that. But they're super cheap, they're super easy to use in battle, and they pretty much make you broken. The only thing I'm not seeing is that there's not actually a special defend. There's just an X special. So keep that in mind if you're planning to use X items. And I believe the next floor is actually the roof, which is not super important because there's not actually anything up here except for the vending machines. So these are actually the most cost-effective healing items that we have access to right now. And I'm actually going to stay here for a while and buy like 20 lemonades just so I have them. So I'll be right back. Alright, now that I have all of my sodas and everything, what do you have to say? My sister is a trainer, believe it or not, but she's so immature, she drives me nuts. Is this your sister? I'm thirsty, I want something to drink. Give me a drink. Sure, you can have a fresh water. Yay, fresh water! Thank you, you can have this from me. Received TM16, which is light screen. It weakens the power of special moves that hit you for 5 turns after you use it. And if we give her a soda, yay, soda pop, thank you. Take this, TM20, which is safeguard. Basically, once you use it, you can't be status. Or the Pokemon that used it can't be status. And last but not least is the lemonade. Yay, lemonade! Thank you! You can have this from me. TM33, which I believe is Reflect. Yes, Reflect is the same as Light Screen except for physical attacks. And that's basically how you get all 3 of those. And I'm just going to meet you back at the bottom of this department store, so we'll be right back. Alright, the next place I want to go is actually to the front of the building that I got Eevee in. Because if we go in here and talk to this old lady, surrounded by a bunch of tiny Pokemon, you shouldn't spend all your money on drinks. It's a little late for that, lady. I think I have 300 Pokédollars left. Try this instead. Obtain the tea. Nothing beats thirst like some hot tea. It really is the best. Thank you. The tea is actually a key item and it's something you have to get. So it's very important that you come here and grab it. There's nothing actually on the 2nd floor, but if you go to the 3rd floor, can walk over here and talk to these guys. I'm the graphic artist. I drew you. Can you imagine somebody just walking up to you and saying that? You just tap him on the shoulder and he's like, I drew you, and then turns around. Me, I'm the programmer. All right? What do you have to say? Is that right? I'm the game designer. Building up your Pokedex is tough, but don't quit. When you finish, come tell me. These are basically the team at, this is the team that made the Pokemon game, and, well, it's their in-game versions, at least. But once you complete the Pokedex, if you talk to this guy, he will give you the certificate for completing it, and I believe he also gives you the shiny charm for completing the Pokedex. And if we go to the top floor, I believe there's nothing up here. Just make a quick look, because I can't run. Yeah, there's nothing up here. So I'll just meet you back at the bottom of this building. Alright, with that gone over, there's only really one thing left to do. And that's to come down here into this house, which is actually a cafe, which I believe, if I talk to you, my Pokemon are weak, so I often have to go to the drugstore. Sure. But if we come up here and talk to this guy, go ahead, laugh. I'm flat out busted. No more slots for me. I'm going straight. Here, I won't be needing this anymore. And we get the coin case, which is very important for one building in town specifically, is what I'm trying to say. And that's the casino. So let's go gambling. Actually, if you go right here, you can find 10 coins, which is sad that I have that memorized. I believe there's one around here too. But, yep, there it is. So basically, the casino, you can just come in here. If you talk to some of the people here, they will give you coins. Like, I think this guy, the roommate, no, maybe this guy. Kid, do you want to play? Yeah, he just gave me 10 coins. But normally you would have to come up here and talk to these ladies. I believe it's the second one. Yeah. Do you need some coins? Here, buy some. You could buy 54,000 or 500 for 10,000, which is the exact same exchange rate, just more convenient, I guess. I have $300, so I'm buying nothing. But the other way to get them is to play the slots, which is literally just this. I'm not going to play because I'm terrible at it, but as long as you match up in one of the directions, then you get more coins, or you get your coins back. But what you do with coins is you can bring them over here, and if you talk to these three, this first one, if you talk to her, you can buy a bunch of different items, which are actually super helpful, especially like the Mystic Water for Turtle would be super helpful for me. But everything else here wouldn't be super helpful for me because I don't have a grass or a fire type. If we talk to this one, it's a bunch of TMs, which it's Ice Beam. If I remember, it's Ice Beam, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Giga Impact, maybe? What are you? That's Flamethrower. This is Iron Tail. Okay. I'm pretty sure Shadow Ball is in here. That's Thunderbolt. We have Shadow Ball. So I was correct on that one. And that's it. So we have Ice Beam, Iron Tail, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Flamethrower are the 5 that you can get here. But my favorite receptionist is this one right in the middle, because if you talk to her, you can just straight up buy Pokemon. And as you can see, there's 3 new ones right here. So I think we should go over them. And funnily enough, there's actually 4 because Scyther is a version exclusive. So we'll start with Scyther. So Scyther. Big thing about Scyther, there is no Scizor in the main story of this game. So no Steel Bug type for you. It actually has pretty good level up movesets for what it has, and is actually it's a pretty competent physical attacker that's pretty fast. So it's a pretty good Pokemon. The weirdest thing I find about it, though, is despite it being a flying type and despite it obviously having wings, it can't learn fly, and I have no idea why. But the next Pokemon is actually the Leaf Green exclusive, is Pinsir. Pinsir is a really strong bug type. It learns nothing, is the easiest way to say that. It's really strong if it had moves, but it learns nothing. The best move that I could find for it is it can learn Brick Break, Sword Dance, Earthquake, and either Hyper Beam or Return. But in order to get that moveset, it needs to be level 49 at minimum, and the use of 2 different TMs to get Earthquake and either Hyper Beam or Return. It's it's absurd to get a decent moveset on the Pinsir. But if you can look past the moveset, it has a great ability because it just can't be nerfed. So that's nice. But with that being said, the next Pokemon we're going to talk about is Porygon. Porygon is also important to know that Porygon 2 and Porygon Z do not exist in the main story of this game. Porygon Z doesn't exist in general yet, but Porygon 2 was created in Gen 2, but it doesn't exist in the main story, so it doesn't matter. It has pretty average stats. It has slightly higher than average special attack, which is nice because it has a pretty okay level up moveset for it, but it has an amazing TM moveset. And when I mean amazing, I mean it can learn Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Iron Tail, Shadow Ball. It can learn almost anything, and it's insane how much it can learn. The biggest downside to it is that it doesn't really have an ability, and its ability is pretty unreliable in like 80% of circumstances. So it's just something to keep in mind. And the last but not least Pokemon to go over here is Dratini. Dratini is a pseudo-legendary, which means at its fully evolved form, it has 600 base stats. It has a 600 base stat total, which is basically the highest you're going to get out of any regular Pokemon in this game. It costs 2,800 coins, so it's a bit of an investment, but it's not a whole ton, honestly. And once it's fully evolved, it becomes an amazing special attacker. It also has amazing TMs, kind of like Porygon. It learns Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and all of those moves. It has a pretty lackluster level up moveset, only learning like Wing Attack and stuff like that, but that's fine. The biggest downside to Dratini, however, is that it takes forever to evolve. Level 30 and level 55 are so far away. Well, level 30 is not far away, but level 55 is like 25 levels away, and it's so difficult to get it there during the main story of this game. The other thing I want to talk about is that even though Dratini is not the most expensive Pokemon to find here, it and its evolved form can actually be found later in the game. So if you don't want to spend money on it, you can catch it later. But with that being said, I actually don't want any of them. What do you have to say? I sure do fancy that Porygon, but it's hard to win at slots. Yeah, it's almost like it's random chance. I raked it in today. If only every day were like this. You know, the man could dream. But with that being said, we have one last thing to do. And I know I said the casino was the last thing, and technically it is. I'm guarding this poster. Go away or else. Got a shady looking guy here. Team Rocket Grunt. And his Raticate. Well, you know what? Last time this happened, I had a little Meowth that couldn't fight the Raticate. But now I got a big, strong Persian that's gonna beat your mouse up. Oh, nice crit. I don't know if it mattered, but I'll take it. And the last Pokemon is a Zubat, so I'm just gonna switch over to Hermes and sweep this guy right under the rug. Level 20 Zubat. I'm gonna Side Beam you just for fun. There should be, yeah, no. Okay, I know that critical hit didn't matter. And also, of all the times ever in this game to have good luck, this random grunt gets 2 critted. It's very funny. Defeated Team Rocket Grunt. Dang. That's all. That's all you had to say. Just dang. The Team Rocket hideout might be discovered. I better tell boss. So you just walked into a wall. But now we just have to look at this. Hey! A switch behind the poster. Let's push it. And we have some steps. So, I think this is a good place to stop. So, I hope that everyone enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Next time, we're going to be chasing that Rocket Grunt down these stairs. But until then, happy adventuring!